What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video for the First Descendant today, we're not doing any builds or anything of that kind. We're actually discussing a notice that was released a day ago as of the recording of this video, basically letting us know of two major quality of life improvements that will be introduced to the game on the 1st of October, which is another major patch for the Season 3 sort of like part of the game. I'll just quickly go over here and we can discuss this because I'm kind of like of two minds about this, and honestly perhaps there's a need for a further bigger video that I think I can articulate a little bit more about exactly how I feel about this. But I do want to bring some attention to this because it is in a way a game changer for the lack of a better word. So basically the point is that with the 1st of October patch, right, the 10/1 patch, we are going to be getting swords and I think obviously some other stuff as well, and I think they might obviously be adjusting some descendants and stuff like that again. But what they are pulling attention to is two big changes which are already being like sort of discussed now. Now these were not on my radar at all, and maybe, I don't know, I want to apologize if I've been sleeping under a rock and this is something that has been discussed before by them, but I was not aware that this was something that they were working towards at all. Those of you that might recall a question that I asked at the anniversary event, if you did watch that and if you see me in that stream, was that I wanted to know what their plan was with void intercept bosses who are pretty much like kind of like forgotten content now, and there's very little reason to do those void intercept bosses because, you know, it only if you're looking for those armor sets that basically drop from them, or if you are you know, still trying to open up some amorphous materials or something like that that might be hanging around in your inventory. But a lot of new players don't do that at all, and a lot of like a lot of these void intercept bosses have armor sets which are not meta and aren't played. So with this change here now, and I know that I'm fucking jumping around, but with this change here now, one of these two changes actually makes that issue even more profound, because what's happening is there's more and more reasons for you to not revisit the old content at all. But in any case, I'm jumping ahead. Let's talk about the first change, which I actually think is a fucking W, all right? So major quality of life improvements. The first one here saying removal of reactor weapon optimization conditions, right? To allow for more flexible use of different weapons and improve accessibility for new players, optimization conditions that were only applied when equipping specific weapons will be removed. Accordingly, the reactor implant function in the auxiliary workbench related to quests and awards will also be removed. Additionally, with the removal of optimization conditions, the skill power increase that previously activated when meeting these conditions will be incorporated into the reactor's base skill power. Just to put it into practical terms, basically just so that everybody understands what this means, is it means that that top portion, right, of the reactor is going to go away now, the optimization condition. So it means that all golden reactors are going to give you that 160% skill power. So they'll up the standard skill power of these reactors by 60% and incorporate that effect in automatically, which means that you could use any weapon with any reactor. Does this mean that reactor farming or looking for the right reactor goes away? Not really, because the point is, we all know that the other side of a reactor that's also very important is the substats. So those two stats at the bottom there. And that is something that you will still actively have to seek out for the reactor that you're trying to use. However, changing the optimization condition does affect you in two big ways. First of all, from an economy perspective, it's less materials that you have to grind for to be able to afford these optimizations. And then at the same time as well, you can run into a situation where, let's say you have a reactor and you've optimized 3 weapons into the reactor. Now that reactor is fucking done. And if you down the line decide, shit, I want to run around with another weapon while I use that, then you just sacrifice that 60% of skill power. So that's not going to be a case anymore. It means that you can have, like in this case, a toxic singularity reactor with my 2 substats on there, and I can basically use any weapon that I want as I walk around with it, and it's not going to affect my skill power in any way. So again, as I said, I don't mind this that much. I mean, it's not that I don't mind it. I think it's actually cool. I am a whale when it comes to reactors, though. I have something like over 400 reactors like saved up. So that's a benefit that I have, having played from the beginning of the game. So generally speaking, I don't have a lot of these reactor kind of issues. I generally have the reactors available that I'm looking for, and I just imprint whatever I need. But the point is, this is a massive step in basically making reactors a little bit less complex to understand for the layman as they come into the game. And yes, it does improve it from a farming and an economy perspective, and it's a little bit less, hassle every time you want to start building up a new descendant and you realize, fuck me, I have the perfect reactor, but now I need to go and get the mat so that I can imprint a weapon, and then I decide I don't want to use that weapon anymore, and now I need to imprint another one. You guys get the point. So I think this is a good one. We do still have reactor farming in a way. You do still have to seek out the substats that you're looking for and then level them up. But it feels like this is a natural evolution of where the reactor game should kind of like end up. However, there's going to be some of this that will also come into play again when we talk the next point. Okay. So the next point, and this is the one where I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I feel a little bit different about this. Okay. This says that changes to amorphous material opening method. So currently how it works, right, is you open up amorphous materials essentially by two ways, right? You either, depending on which amorphous material it is, right, you either take them and you go fight a void intercept boss, and then when the void intercept boss dies, he leaves behind a fucking station that you can access. Then you use that to open up the amorphous material, and the amorphous material has a chance of dropping the item that you're looking for. And so therefore this becomes the loop, right? You farm a bunch of the amorphous materials, then you go kill the boss a bunch of times, you open it, and hopefully you get lucky and you hit the shit that you're looking for. The other way that you can also open up amorphous materials is reactors on different areas in the game world. So Kingston has like I think one, some of the other maps have 2 or 3 or anything like that. And the point is, you go to these reactors, you pay to open up the reactor, you kill a boss that comes out of the reactor, and then it spawns a station just like the void intercept boss that you fucking plug the amorphous material into, and boom, boom, boom. Hopefully you get what you're looking for. So now they're saying to reduce the hassle of opening amorphous materials, this function will be improved to allow single or continuous opening through interaction with NPCs located in Albion. So there's going to be a dude or dudes or dudettes or whatever the fuck standing in Albion that you can walk up to them and you go, hey, I have 10 of this amorphous material, click, 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 and just open them up. So you're not going to have to fight a boss. You're not going to have to travel to a location. You're not going to have to kill a boss, anything like that. As a result, the reconstructed devices, those are those stations that I was talking about, that were created when clearing void intercept void intercept battles and void fusion reactors will be removed. So they're removing that content completely. So the functionality of being able to use a void intercept boss to open up an amorphous material or to go to the reactor station on a fucking planet or in an area somewhere, they're removing that. They're saying, additionally, please note that the void intercept battle hard, okay, will be revised in the future, and the current content format will be maintained until then. So somewhere down the line, there's going to be a reason for us again, other than armor sets, to go after these void intercept bosses. Now, here, I have a concern, because what's happening is that to facilitate ease, okay, for players, content is being removed from the game. Now, I know people are going to jump at me in the comments and go, dude, fucking killing the same boss over and over and over again for like a 6% chance at something dropping isn't content. That's just fucking bullshit. Well, I'm sorry, but just because it's not the content you enjoy doesn't mean that it's not content. Content is fucking content. The point is, this game is starting to suffer from an identity, I mean, hold on, come over here, come closer. This game is starting to suffer from an identity crisis because it doesn't understand whether it wants to be a Guna game, which is just about selling, like cosmetics and stuff like that. Because the problem with just selling cosmetics and stuff like that leads us to the next problem. Does this want to be a looter shooter, like where you actually grind for stuff and where you over time unlock things? Because cosmetics are only good if there's something that you can do while you wear those cosmetics. Or is it supposed to be a gacha game or what? Like my issue is to make something easier to do, all right? Or to facilitate complexity, the hassle of something, the complexity of something to go away. There has to be a better way than actually stripping out mechanics and content in the game. Again, whether you think that that's good content or not, doesn't change the fact that it is content. There's a large section of the player base that does not interact with Purge, okay? So if tomorrow they decide, well, shit, 1 in fucking 20 players actually play Purge, the rest of the people are all standing in Sigma or 400% infiltrations or Axion. So what we'll do is we'll just take Purge out completely, and then we'll put a vendor in the city that once a fucking week you come to them and you get your weapon cores. That's going to be a terrible fucking solution. It's probably, I'm obviously hyperbolic here, but this is the fucking issue. Like, there has to be a better way to to fix this issue, right? To reduce complexity, to reduce hassle, than actually removing content that a certain part of the player base might actually enjoy interacting with, or might actually enjoy doing, or at the very least need to do, so that they understand how void intercept bosses and battles and things like that work, and so that they can test their builds. Which they can still do now, but the point is there's less reward for this now. I obviously need to spend a little bit more time thinking about this, and like I said, this perhaps leads to a bigger discussion, a bigger video or something like that. But I do have a problem with this, because I think that what we're seeing here is we're seeing an idea where essentially everything is being funneled towards Axion. And Axion was supposed to be additional content for the game, in-game content for the game, not the only content for the game. So now players are being funneled into this activity. So it's basically Axion, and it's fucking hanging around in Albion, and that's pretty much it. Because all of your vendors in Albion will just unlock all your shit for you and do everything for you. And then what you'll do is you'll go farm for your boxes and stuff like that in Axion, and that's pretty much it. And then I guess like in season 4, there'll be a new Axion, and then old Axion will get the axe. I don't know. But yeah, it also, I suppose it depends how long it takes them to repurpose void intercept battles, the hard battles. It's a sad thing for me, because in my question to the developers when we had the anniversary stream, it came from a point of like, I think these void intercept battles are fun. It was one of the things that I really enjoyed right at the beginning of the game, is finding ways to kill these bosses fast and fast. Of course, these days you kill them in like fucking 2 seconds flat. But the point was that this was fun. It was a fun thing to carry your buddies through if they were struggling. It was a fun thing to attempt in groups and see how much more difficult it is, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's just something that kind of like, yes, you can obviously still do it, guys. I'm not saying that this content is fucking gone now. You can't fight these bosses anymore. Woo, that's not what I'm saying. But the point is you're removing like a reward layer that was behind it, that was kind of like, in a way, at the very least incentivizing you to just go and do these bosses and everything like that, and to spend some time, you know, kind of like farming these. I mean, I have like 2 or 3 videos which basically contain, you know, the whole void intercept boss killing as like part of a fucking loop. Right, so fundamentally there's been a big change, and that's why I said it's kind of like a game changer. On the one side, we have the quality of life with reactor weapon optimization, which I do think is a W, but yes, also does affect you know, the engagement of content in a certain way, because yeah, there's slightly less reactor farming necessary now. And then on the other hand as well, yes, this change to this, basically removing the need to kind of like go into void intercept bosses and go open your amorphosis there, or go to these reactors and go do them there, means that sort of loop is like also gone now out of the game. And it's been something that's been a part of the experience since the beginning. And I think that there's probably a more eloquent, more more engaging way of making this change out there. Now, for the life of me, I can't think of that now, what that solution would be. But like I said, it's probably something that we should explore in a further discussion. But either which way, guys, I'm rambling now. I did this off the cuff without a script or something like that. But I did want to bring some visibility to this, because I think a lot of people are playing fucking Borderlands and aren't paying that much attention to the game right now. But yes, with the swords patch that is coming at the beginning of October, there's these 2 big changes that are coming. And I think the second one is a little bit controversial, to say the least. But let me know in the comments how you feel, what you think about these 2 changes. Is it enough to bring you back to the game if you've fucked off and you want to? And is this enough of a reason to bring you back? Because I do feel that this might be a big reason behind them making these changes, is to try to get more people behind the screens. But let me know if it is enough to bring you back. Is it something that's driving you away? How do you feel about it? All of that. As always, thank you very much for the support. Keep watching. Tons more videos coming. Until next video, fucking cheers.